At its height of greatness, the Hotel Lafayette was considered one of the 15 finest hotels in the country. Originally planned to greet the visitors to the Pan American Exposition in 1898, the red brick and white terracotta French Renaissance-style building boasted 7 stories of rooms with electric lighting, hot and cold water in all bathrooms, and telephones in all rooms. However, financial problems delayed its opening until 1904. This master achievement, once considered the best that science, art, and experience can offer for the comfort of the traveling public, boasts notoriety for a second reason: Louise Blanchard Bethune. The Hotel Lafayette's architect was the first professional woman architect in the country. She was also the first female member of the American Institute of Architects and the first woman to be made a Fellow of the AIA. After years of neglect, Buffalo developer Rocco Termini undertook the massive project of bringing this historic beauty back to life. The building was almost demolished when Termini took the reins of the Renaissance of the Hotel Lafayette.
A lot of people say I'm crazy. And sometimes I think after the daunting task that we have before us, sometimes I agree with them. But this is the last French Renaissance building left in Buffalo. And it was designed by Louise Bethune, who was the first female architect. And I really thought that was something worth saving for Buffalo.
Because of Bethune's impact and Bethune's authorship of that building, I mean, it will be a national treasure. Of course, it's already on the national landmark. It already is a national landmark. I think that what the city of Buffalo is doing through Earl and Rocco is they're making a major contribution to the national landscape by preserving her opus.
Now listed on the National Register of Historic Places, the Hotel Lafayette is a city within a city. It has 270,000 square feet, which have been recreated as home to 1- and 2-bedroom apartments, a boutique hotel, 5 restaurants, a bakery, a florist, a gift shop, and a women's dress shop. The restoration, undertaken by hundreds of highly skilled craftspeople, artists, and contractors, used many of the old-world techniques that were used in the original construction. It was a painstaking and patient labor of love to recreate each breathtaking architectural detail. From restoring crystal chandeliers in the ballroom to recasting ornate plaster beams.
Yeah, this is not a construction project. People say, oh, you're doing the construction at the Lafayette. This is a restoration project, and it's very difficult. For instance, we're restoring all the chandeliers. There's only 2 or 3 people in this area that will restore chandeliers, so we've distributed the chandeliers to each one of them so that we can get them back in a timely fashion. Same thing with stained glass. We have over 80 stained glass windows here. There's 4 or 5 people in Western New York to do them, and we've distributed to them. Same thing with plaster work. Plaster is a very, it's really a job that nobody does anymore, and there's very few people that continue to do it, making molds for all the plaster. All these things take a long time, and it was difficult trying to find people. It took me almost 6 months to get all the team put together.
A key member of the team was architect Jonathan Morris of Carmino Wood Morris. He was the one charged with leading an army of artisans, contractors, and designers who would put the pieces of the Hotel Lafayette puzzle back together.
We spent over a year, about a year and a half, doing that task of investigating everything in the building, documenting what was there, and coming up with design responses to everything in the building, and giving the Historic Preservation Office a plan for what we're going to do and a picture of what this would look like when it's done. We're responding to stuff that's there, and every time you uncover something, there's, you find different steel or concrete or wood or materials that we've got to decide, what's saved, what's not, how we put new materials in and how it connects to the old stuff so that we can put this building back together as close to what it looked like originally. The whole drawing process has been kind of an ongoing thing because we do drawings and give them to the contractors and they start, and then as things come up and as they start to put things back together, every day you find something new. So we're constantly sort of revising those drawings and issuing sketches and working details out in the field with the contractors and the craftsmen that are out there. So the whole drawing design process is kind of this interactive thing that's just been ongoing and sort of evolves every day. I think because of the way this building evolved over time, and there was so many different time periods when it was built, and additions upon additions upon additions, and then the original stuff was renovated, and the whole major work that was done in the 40s that buried stuff that was done back in 1904. I think probably one of the, we knew that there was old plaster work and the decorative fabric that was original to the building in 1904. We knew that a lot of that had been covered up in the 1940s renovation work. And we had seen glimpses of it in different places. You climb up and through hatches and shine flashlights up in ceilings and find stuff that's up there. We were struggling to find enough space in the building for this one tenant. And I talked to Rocco and said, I think if we take down this ceiling from the 1940s, there's space up there. There's volume in that part of the building because the ceiling height was so big that I think we can grab some more space and build a mezzanine, sort of do a two-level shop if we take the ceiling down. They took the ceiling down in this one office, this 1940s ceiling. And what we found up above there was this just beautiful, exquisite plaster ceiling. There was one corner of it was pretty damaged, but there was a lot of it that was intact, and all the original paint colors and the gilding and all the detail that we hadn't seen up close. We were able to really see. There were other places in the building where it was visible, but had been painted over, and we really weren't. We were trying to discover what it really looked like in its original form. And that Saturday, when they took that ceiling down and we saw this, it was really exciting. And every time you uncover something or bust open a wall or look above the ceiling, you can just sense what it must have been like in that building, but in the city at the turn of the century and what was going on. This building, it evolved over so many time periods, and there was so much fabric there to work with that the approach we took is that we need to tell the story and restore this so that people understand how it evolved, so that there's 1940s work that is restored, and it's mixed in with 1904 work that's restored, and that's adjacent to 1912 fabric that's restored in the 1917 ballroom, and from its original start and stop and then restart, and finally came out of the ground and opened in 1904. But then how quickly it expanded, and by 1912 they had doubled the size of it, and the time period and what was going on in the city of Buffalo, and you started seeing pictures and information about this building and realized what just an exquisite hotel this was. And you can just start to envision what it was like in the city of Buffalo at that time and what was going on here. You just feel like the building starts telling you these stories.
The stories were told through hidden rooms and layers of paint that were uncovered during the initial phases of the restoration. Each day, something new was learned that excited and amazed the people working at the Lafayette. When a piece of ceiling was removed in the hallway, the workers exposed 3 layers of building renovation. The first was the drop ceiling, probably installed in the 70s. The second layer was the ceiling from the 1940s renovation. And there at the top was the original ceiling from 1904, still intact, revealing the original look and beauty. Several companies worked on the tremendous amount of plastering that needed to be redone at the Lafayette. Large beams were manufactured off-site, but almost all of the detail work was created by talented artists working right at the hotel.
A lot of it's just been compromised from water. You know, they think they had roof leaks, plumbing leaks going on for years over there, so you know, much of it is bad. Well, the first thing is demo. They've got to remove whatever is loose, compromised, damaged material from the ceiling and the walls. And once that's removed, then we can evaluate, see what has to be reproduced. So what we do is we'll go up on a lift or scaffolding and make a mold of what we need. There, you know, there's pieces that are missing, of course, so we make a mold off of existing pieces that are in good shape. There are some pieces that actually have to be resculpted from clay, and we'll find pieces that are that we need to reproduce. You know, existing pieces that are in the room, and we'll make molds of that. You know, rubber molds of that. And then we cast those pieces in a fiberglass reinforced plaster, and then those pieces are reinstalled and, you know, set into the ceiling where they're missing. We had guys from all over the world, Turkey, you know, of course, Russia. There's a guy from Angola working here now, and Lebanon. You know, in those countries, they don't have like a, at least when these guys grew up, there was no Home Depot to go to. Things had to be made the way they were made in America maybe 100 years ago, by hand and crafted and such. And these guys, they find their way to our shop, and we're able to employ them, and you know, we're always learning from them. You know, if somebody from another part of the world shows us a technique that we, you know, never saw before, and sometimes our techniques are better and sometimes theirs, so we kind of accumulate knowledge from these different people from all over the world, and you know, we're always kind of polishing up our act by you know, learning from, we all learn from each other.